Let's Gamespot.
Hello and welcome to the triumphant return of Let's Gamespot. I'm your host, Jeff Gerstmann. So maybe it's been a while since we've done this thing we like to call the best show about gaming, but we have a good reason, I promise. But hey, now that I'm finally out on bail, we'll try to make it up to you with word on two solid new releases, NBA Live 2004 and Jak 2. Then we'll talk to senior editor Jeff Gerstmann and find out what he has to say about last week's GameCube release, Viewtiful Joe. And if you're into that, then you'll be all over Andrew Park and Brad Shoemaker, who will be stopping by to talk about Max Payne 2 and Maximo vs. the Army of Zin, respectively. Want more? How about a sneak peek at the reason why GameSpot Live hasn't been getting any sleep recently, as well as the word from Tyler Weingarner on the latest inductee into GameSpot's greatest games of all time. Tim Tracy likes news, and the Trivia Robot likes trivia, and you like both of them, so why don't we get those crazy kids together to play some mini-golf or something? And y'all should come along too, because in the soon-to-be immortal words of the West Side Connection, consider this an invitation to my Let's GameSpot Nation. First up this week is Jak 2 for the PlayStation 2, Naughty Dog's sequel to its hit of 2 years ago, Jak and Daxter: The Precursor Legacy. The rhyme's so easy that I gotta say it. Jak is back. And this time he's angry. Jak 2 picks up immediately where Jak and Daxter left off. That is until the pair is sucked into a warp that drops them into a strange and rather dark future. Jak is quickly captured by mysterious soldiers and thrown in prison while Daxter runs for the hills. 2 years after that, Daxter rescues Jak from experiments conducted on him by evil scientists working for the even more evil Baron Praxis. Now free, the two set off on a quest for revenge and a search for the means to return to their own time. New moves for Jak include the ability to use a hoverboard as well as a multifunctional rifle. Also, Jak can now use Dark Eco to morph into Dark Jak, which makes him much more stronger, angrier, and ironically very pale. Several vehicles are available for Jak and Daxter to use at any time, Grand Theft Auto style. As in the first game, Jak 2 is mission-based, but this time around AI characters will tag along from time to time. Throw in vastly improved graphics and environments, and you have a pretty solid game for your PlayStation 2. For a full review and GameSpot Complete only video review, check out Jak 2's GameSpace. Also new this week is the latest addition to EA's long-standing basketball franchise, NBA Live 2004. It's available for the Xbox, GameCube, PlayStation 2, and the PC. Take a look. As expected, NBA Live 2004 includes updated rosters for each of the NBA's teams, as well as updated uniforms for teams like the Houston Rockets and Cleveland Cavaliers. Back from NBA Live 2003 is the freestyle control function. By using the right analog stick, you can control the direction of your dribbling. New to this year's game is improved defensive AI, a stronger focus on rebounding, and several new animations made possible by a 10-man motion capture system employed by EA. Instead of recording the movements of 1 or 2 players for the game, improved capture technology allowed for a full-court 5-on-5 game to be set up for a higher level of animated accuracy. Also new to the game is the ability to jump, stop, or pro hop at the push of a button. That's the move where the player stops their dribble on the run, lands on both feet, and jumps again. You'll know it when you see it, trust me. NBA Live 2004 offers a full Dynasty mode with the ability to import draft classes from NCAA March Madness, as well as online support for the PlayStation 2 and PC. For a full review and complete members-only video review from Bob Kaleko, check out the GameSpace. Joining me now in the studio is senior editor Jeff Gerstmann. How's it going, me? Pretty well. Kind of, confusing, but good. We've taken you to our present from the exact second you completed the review of Capcom's Viewtiful Joe for the Nintendo GameCube, so our thoughts on the game should be pretty fresh in your mind, right? Yeah, just finished it, turned it in, going up later today, so, well, later last... Yes, it's still fresh in my mind, yes. So what's the game's storyline? The game's storyline puts you in the role of a guy named Joe, and Joe has a girlfriend named Sylvia, and Joe loves old Japanese superhero movies, kind of in the vein of like Kamen Rider or kind of that Power Rangers stuff, basically like the suited up ninja dudes that are out there jacking stuff up. So basically, Joe and Sylvia are at the movies one day seeing an old Captain Blue movie, and it turns out that Captain Blue gets defeated, and in kind of a last action hero twist, the monsters from the Captain Blue movie come out of the screen and kidnap Sylvia, so Joe has to go into the movie world, learn superpowers of his own from the fallen Captain Blue, and kind of take these monsters on their own turf before they can escape movie world and take over the real world. So you get superpowers in the game, right? Yeah, Joe actually has 3 superpowers. You can actually purchase other kicks and stuff, but as far as like the main powers go, Joe has 3 powers. The first one you get is slow motion, and it's probably the most useful. What you can actually do is slow things down, and basically when things are moving a lot slower, you do a lot more damage. So your punches and kicks will take guys out, in a more effective manner. And also when you're in slow motion mode, you can really kind of start up these really wild combos. Basically, once you've eliminated one guy in slow motion mode, all the other guys get all these targets on them. You can, jack them up and just make all these crazy combos happen. The second power you get is the opposite. It's Mach Speed. And what Mach Speed does is speed everything up. So basically, when you're sped up, you can punch a lot more often, so you can kind of do more damage this way also. And once you really, really get moving in Mach Speed, you'll catch on fire. And these powers are used not only to kind of eliminate enemies, but for some puzzle stuff as well. So like slow motion will make things with propellers drop out of the sky, whereas Mach Speed will make those propellers spin faster and make things raise up. So there's a lot of platforms you have to move with that stuff. The third power in the game is zoom, and what zoom does is basically you kind of zoom in, and since it's a movie, Joe's getting his close-up screen time, which is very scary for all the other actors in movie land, so a lot of the lesser enemies will be frozen in their tracks. And of course, when you're zoomed in, you do more damage too. All right, so it plays pretty well, but how does it look? Viewtiful Joe just looks really amazing. I mean, we've seen a million games. You know this better than anybody else I know. That we've seen tons of games with cell shading, and they start to look kind of stale after a while. But Viewtiful Joe looks anything but stale. It just has this really crisp and clean look to it that you don't really get out of a lot of cell-shaded games. It works really well to accentuate the style, kind of gives it a comic book-like flair. But basically, above all, it just has a very stylish look that really matches the stylish gameplay very, very well. And finally, what score did I give the game, and why? Well, we gave the game a 9.2 because it's awesome. I mean, it just looks great. The gameplay is really solid. All the hot punching and kicking action. The powers play really well into it. Just overall, it's just an incredibly well done and a fun game that isn't so short that you'll blow through it in a day. Thanks for stopping by, me. Oh yeah, and when you get back to your time, think of a more productive way to spend your weekend, okay? My head feels like it's going to explode with headachy goodness over here. That was a look back at the past. Now here with a game from the future is Associate Editor Brad Shoemaker. Hi, Brad.
How you doing?
Good. Last week you got your hands on the Japanese retail version of Makai Iyuki Maximo, Machine Monster no Yabu, otherwise known as Capcom's Maximo versus the Army of Zin, which doesn't hit the States until when?
January.
January, okay. So who is the Army of Zin?
The Army of Zin is a big group of crazy-looking robots that is powered by human souls. I don't know where they came from because I can't read enough Japanese, but they originated like 500 years before the game starts, and there was a big war between the Army of Zin and an army of humans, and the Army of Zin was imprisoned, and now they're back, and Maximo has to kill them all.
So how's the combat in the game?
It's really solid. There's a lot of moves you can do. You have the sword combat from the original game. There's you have vertical and horizontal slash. You can do stuff with your shield. You can throw the shield and it comes back like a boomerang. There's a new battle hammer. You can buy upgrades for both weapons that let you do kind of like little spells, like an ice attack with the hammer or something like that.
A lot of people thought that the last Maximo game was difficult. How does this one stack up so far?
It's pretty tough, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's as tough, I don't think. I mean, it is possible to get through it without tearing out too much hair.
So is there anything else about the game? I understand there's some kind of crazy, like, different underwear in the game and stuff.
In addition to upgrading your weapons and your shield, you can upgrade your underwear.
I do that pretty often, daily, in fact.
It's a good thing to do. You can get underwear that increases your defensive capabilities. There's underwear that vibrates when you're near a treasure chest.
Great, thanks for stopping by, Brad.
Thanks a lot.